You consider Dick Clark a close friend and a mentor.
Yes, I do. And I had the opportunity to work with him for a couple years on a show called The Other Half, and we did a couple New Year's specials together, among other things, and just an amazing guy.
For people who didn't get a chance to meet him personally, what was he really like?
He was awesome, just a living legend right there, and a part of American history in the flesh, and very serious individual, hardworking, savvy businessman. I was always picking his brain because he had many businesses outside of the entertainment industry that many people didn't know about. Like he owned all the Krispy Kremes, for example.
No
in
way.
In the United Kingdom.
No
Yes,
way.
yes, and he had copper and a just diverse portfolio as far as all these investments. And he always thought of himself as a businessman first and entertainer second, which I found fascinating and I wanted to emulate. And he was just such a positive influence in that regard as well.
Did he ever give you any advice for hosting or any tips?
I remember he said, Mario, being a host is all about just being yourself and comfortable in your own skin, and that's very hard for people. And don't ever try to be something you're not. And the number one advice was just be a good listener and react accordingly. And it's something that I took to heart and try to still do to this day.
What was it like working with him on The Other Half?
I mean, I was working with an icon, and I was already such a huge fan, like millions of other Americans, and it was an honor, a privilege, and the fact that I got to become his friend was even more important. And you know, I saw him every day for 2 years, and he liked me because I always had a strong work ethic, and I was a hustler, and he appreciated that because ever since he was young, he's always been a hard worker and tried to do a bunch of different things.
He taught you a little bit about hosting. He taught you about being an entrepreneur. Did he give the young man any life lessons?
Always, you know, stress that you carry yourself like a gentleman, treat other people with respect, come from a sincere place, and people are going to respond to that.
You know, he once told us that if he had a fourth son, he would want him to be like you. What does that feel like to hear that?
I mean, that's the ultimate compliment, and if I had another dad, I'd want him to be just like Mr. Clark. And he had such an influence on my life, and he really helped sort of navigate and change my approach towards his business too, because he made me look at the big picture and the longevity, and being a former child actor, and just to kind of be open-minded about being a host and getting into producing and getting into owning properties and writing and being diverse. He really sort of guided me in that regard to kind of set myself up for longevity in this business, or at least having the best chance for longevity in this business. So he really exposed me to a lot of things that I probably wouldn't have been privy to otherwise.
He sent you a letter recently. What did he say?
In the letter, he used to send, he's old school, so he used to send me letters actually about every maybe 4 or 6 months just to hear from him. And he...
Over the span of your relationship?
Yeah, over the span of
Wow.
the relationship. He wasn't a big email guy, he was a letter guy. And keeping in touch, but the last one that he watches Extra. He watches Extra, he likes what he sees, and you know, you're doing a good job, kiddo.
Say one last thing to him. What would it be?
Thank you for being such a role model, mentor, positive influence in my life, for taking me under your wing and allowing me to call you a friend. You know, you're a great man, but an even better friend.